Milan, what's up, brother? How are you?
Doing well yourself, Rob. How are things?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you being part of this series, and my vision for it is just to kind of get your perspective on agency, brokerage, agents, and and possibly the experience that you've had with us through the years, because we've worked together for many years now, and you posed an interesting question. I'll let you kind of fire away.
I'm very fiercely loyal to you. Our relationships spans over 17 years. And I think that's why right? I think you and I have a personal friendship and a business friendship, and that's rare. And I think why you is because of the integrity you bring to the table. The fact that there's decisions you've made on the betterment of my behalf that have been less profitable for yourself, but because you view yourself as a consultant and not a real estate agent, I think that's the rate. You take a consultative approach with every one of your clients, and it's helpful because when I call you, I don't just call you about real estate problems. I call you about family problems. I call you about problems in my work life. I talk about work-life balance, and I talk about real estate investments, rental strategies, pricing strategies. But you're a one single source of not only comfort, but of business acumen that I really respect. And so there's no shortage of real estate agents, but why Rob Chavez is for precisely those reasons.
Man, I appreciate you saying that. One of the conversations that you and I had a while back, and you really got me thinking about this, was being able to consult and advise people on what they need to do with their real estate in order to either maximize it or what to fix, what not to fix. And it got me really thinking, because I feel that is a huge value add that we bring to the table when it comes to helping people understand what they need to do to their property just to kind of maximize it. And so I wanted to chat a little bit about that, because I think that is an important piece that a lot of homeowners or a lot of sellers may not always be considering. They might be thinking about the person that's doing the pretty virtual tours and flyers and pictures and all that stuff's valuable. We do all that stuff. But the area that I feel is more valuable is guiding people in terms of what they need to do with their real estate and how that impacts their bottom line.
I'm going to bring up 2 points on that where I value you and what you bring to the table. One is you're not afraid to give people bad news. I'm in sales myself. I'm in tech sales, and as salespeople, we want to always put a positive spin on things. I think sometimes when people are making critical decisions, they need to hear the most accurate of information. They don't want to hear some pie in the sky that, oh, real estate's 100%. This is going to be the best investment of your life. They want you to level set with them and understand the truth, and that gives credibility to what you're doing. When you told me that there's certain things and truths that I wasn't going to be able to sell at a certain price or this, what that gave me was credibility, that you're telling me the truth and making me make a decision that's best for me and my family and not necessarily best for your business. So that consultative approach has been something that's given credibility. The second thing I think you do better than most is pricing strategy. And I think I've told you this before, but a pricing strategy is the most in any industry, real estate, but any industry. Let's say a business ABC creates a product DEF. How do you price that? How do you know what the market's going to pay for that? In any industry, that's difficult. I've never seen, with the way you've allowed me to price some of the projects we've priced out, I'm impressed at the accuracy in which you price. Because I can't tell you how many ones among my colleagues are. They'll list it at this price because the real estate agent says, oh, you can get it for this high of a price. And then they end up lowering it because the listing got stale, and lowering. What I think distinguishes your stuff is that you guys don't let these things go stale because you price it accurately from day one. And I would say that is the biggest distinguishing factor, because, and I'm not trying to offend the other real estate agents out in the industry. I get the gut feeling that you want to give a potential seller good news. You want to make them happy because you're a good person. You want to make people happy. But at the end of the day, reality and telling the truth is sometimes the toughest decision. So I value that what comes out of your mouth is accurate, and whether it's good or bad. And so the good news you give me, I can really feel good that it's really good news.
Yeah, it's interesting the direction this conversation is going in, because that is an area where I see so many people make the mistake of mispricing because first off, I don't think a lot of people understand the psychology of pricing. A lot of agents don't understand the psychology of pricing and how critical it is to get that piece right on the front end to help the seller maximize what they're going to put in their pocket. So the way I always explain it to my agents is, if you truly care about that person's outcome, if you really care about the outcome for them and their family, then you've got to figure out a way to be able to guide them on what's in their best interest when it comes to pricing. And it may not always be what they want to hear. And yet it's necessary in order to help them win in the transaction. And ultimately, that's what we want to have happen, is we want the seller to be able to win in that transaction. And the worst thing that could possibly happen is that an agent on our team just didn't have the right tools or words or empathy in order to help them understand what needed to happen. And we coach them to that. We help them understand how to really, I always think of the Jerry Maguire, help me help you, right? That whole speech that Jerry Maguire had help me help you. Having that intent in your heart when you're trying to help a seller understand where they need the price in order to maximize the sale. And it's always price in relation to the condition, price in relation to its location, like where it might sit on the street or on the lot, on a particular lot, what it backs to, and always price in relation to the time of the year. And you can control those factors. And so being able to understand how to move those levers in order to maximize the price or minimize the time, right? And it's it's not an art. It's definitely a science. It's backed by data, right? Yeah. Some people think, well, it's part art. It's not. That's data driven. I'm really big into data and understanding. Hey, there are certain days that you launch a home that just end up netting you more money, and they sell for faster. There's certain numbers that you price at psychologically that spur more traffic, right?
Yeah,
so we analyze all that data.
Couldn't agree with you more.
What's that?
Couldn't agree with you more. I would add where the art component comes in. The science is the price. The art is what you said. Coaching that's where the art in this comes in. Is coaching people to understand that these are the things. Sometimes we always talk about positive business outcomes in any strategy, in any business transaction. Sometimes the positive business outcome is minimizing the negative that you're going to take on. And then that minimizing that negative may allow you to live for another day. And then maybe the positive business outcome is waiting and selling because you can get a higher profit margin if you're willing to wait to withdraw from the money. There's so many components to this transaction. And minimizing, I know a friend of mine, he was married to this stock. The stock was something that, got him great wealth over the years. And then the stock was tanking because the company was going obsolete. But he held on. I said, if you sell, even if you lose, you could take that money and reinvest into something more profitable. But he went down with the ship because he didn't use science. He used I don't know, human behavior and psychology.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned psychology numbers. There's a psychology to a lot of people. Sometimes people don't want to hear the raw hard facts. So the art, I think, where you do well is on both the science and the art. Art is not in the pricing, but the art is in the way you help deal with people psychologically, and it's not manipulation. It's understanding the emotions involved. These are people's homes, their livelihoods. If people have to take a hit, that's fine. Or if people have to wait longer to get their profit. But the fact that you lay that out so clearly and so honestly is a distinguishing factor.
Yeah, the art, now that we're talking about the art is empathy.
Yeah.
Right. The art is tonality. The art is empathy. The art is really just putting yourself in their shoes and then being able to communicate with them in a way that helps them move forward. Mm-hmm. And that comes with context, by the way. That comes with experience. Mm-hmm. That comes with having future pace, having seen a lot of scenarios and seeing the outcome of how they play out over time.
Yeah.
I've sold over 1,000 homes, and after a while you start seeing patterns, and you start seeing what works and what doesn't work, and then you're able to translate that to create a system that allows people to win, right?
Yeah. And one thing I would say, this really, and me and Sinan until this day, well, Sinan is my wife, for anybody who doesn't know. Me and Sinan until this day would say that you're the only person we would want to work with in this industry. And the reason is, and I want your viewers to hear this story because I think it's important for people to know this story. Me and Sinan, we were less than a year into our marriage. And, when you're first year into your marriage, it's the honeymoon phase. Your spouse can do no wrong. And 11 months of the marriage, we made the mistake of starting to look for a house together instead of just staying there for a while. And that's caused our first fights in the marriage. And Rob was in the middle of that, right? We must have seen at least 40, 50 different places. We're still relatively new in our marriage. We're still learning each other, let alone learning what we like best. And there was a house. We were a little bit fatigued, and we went to this home. It was in a similar place to where I live right now. And it was a higher price point than what I paid for my current home that Rob helped me get. And the price point was high, and it was not as good as a home that Rob had on next in the docket. I was ready to tell the listing agent who was showing us the place, let's just put in an offer right now. And Rob took me aside and said, whoa. You're fatigued. I think I think I've narrowed down what you need. Do not pay at this price point. Now, the commission for Rob would have been way more than he eventually got, but he guided me to the right decision for me and my family. He took the time to learn through the disputes between me and my wife what we liked and what we didn't like, and he was able to diagnose the house that we needed at the time we needed it. Till this day, I remember that day. I remember it so clearly. I remember the weather outside because Rob really gave me some clarity in a situation where I was showing impatience, frustration, all those things.
Yeah, I remember it was a new construction property.
New construction, right in the new SAIC campus, right? It was like the SAIC campus that just got torn down right off Gallows. Great location. But Rob, you said this is a lot of money for not a lot of house, and you guided me in the right direction.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that story. I remember that too. It was it's those are the things that I love. It's so interesting. It's like what happens is your clients become your friends. It's all intertwined, and it's like these are the stories that we share with our kids and our family, and it's an experience, right? I now look at myself not as a real estate agent, but as a real estate financial planner, right? Yep. For people to understand, okay, what's best for the family. Okay, great. You've got this house. Now, are you looking?
Oh, Rob, you cut out there. Oh, Rob?
Milan.
Hey, Rob, I just got back on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I think it was something cut off.
Yeah, no worries.
No, man, I was just saying.
Now you're more of you're a strategist and all that type. You were on that point, so
that's it. I now see it so clearly, right? I see how really we're just helping people with their real estate financial side of the house. It's part of your wealth building. It's part of your financial strategy, right? It's no longer just helping people buy and sell a home. It's understanding, buying and selling the home is step one. And then it's like, how do we help you grow, and how do we help create wealth and legacy for your family? So that makes me happy. That's where I love to play.
And that's how I'd like people to view. I mean, if I were to sell you, if you asked me to go out and sell Rob Chavez and sell him what's worth, I would want prospective people to view you through the lens of what you just said. Don't view you through the lens of another real estate agent, because anybody can, put anything on the MLS, put the listing out, email blasts, all that type of stuff. I mean, my grandmother can do that. It's not that. You have to view to judge and value what you bring to the table. So view you through the lens of what you just said as a consultative real estate investor, not broker or not salesman or not anything. because I come to you for strategy within and within real estate and outside of real estate, which ties to real estate. You and I talk about tax liability. I mean, we talk about how you can reduce your taxes by doing certain things with real estate transactions. There's a lot of components and complexities to this process, and you bring that to the table.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing some time today, Milan, and just having this discussion. This is our CAZA Raving fan page.
Yep.
Normally, I feel weird talking about this stuff, but I also want people that are looking at us to understand who we really are at our core, and how we help people move forward, and what's in our heart. And so I appreciate you sharing some of your experience with us.
And I want, the Raving fans, I like the name. I would like to say this, that I'm a Raving fan, but I'm not I'm not following a cult leader here. Rob is somebody that I value in a business thing. And I would even add that Rob continues to show value, and we continue to grow together in a relationship, both personally and professionally. And I got to continue to show Rob value and patience. And I've not always been perfect with Rob. It's a two-sided business relationship, right? And just understand that we also are accountable to Rob, just as Rob is accountable to us. And when you learn that, you know that. So I'm a Raving fan, but if I wasn't good to Rob and I was disrespectful to Rob, he has every right to drop me, and vice versa. We got to continue to grow the relationship. So the Raving fan is not just – it's a fan because Rob continues and will continue to show me value, and I hope that I do the same for him.
Oh, that's a great way. Yeah, maybe we call it a different page. Long-term relationships, or I don't know.
Well, no, I like Raving fans, but I just want to make sure that we know that your audience knows that I am a Raving fan. But I'm also a fan that's not blinded to anything, right? I value a relationship because you produce results for me, and I produce results for you, and we get results together in a collaborative approach, and that'll continue. And if you give me wrong advice, I'll let you know. And if I do something wrong, you let me know. But a Raving fan is not blindly following somebody. A Raving fan is somebody that respects and continues to respect Rob's ability to do what's right for his clients.
Well, with that, Milan, I will let you get on with your day, my friend.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. And please feel free to Rob to hand out to prospective clients my contact information. I'll be glad to go through both the pluses and minuses of any real estate transaction with them that I've dealt with, but them to know how good you are, but also give them an assessment as a client versus as a company.
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.